I'm also the UDOT liaison. You also with active transportation. I did a concept for a signal on 100 South on State Street by the cemetery that is not funding, so that also exciting news I got these reflective suspenders for Christmas. I'm most likely to get murdered while I'm on the back. So that's my exciting news.
John Phelps and the Safe Routes lead, BikeWalk Provo. I'm excited about the improvements made along the Provo River Trail along 2200 that connects University Parkway and then to the river and then to University Avenue. That stretch that has been.
On the agenda, we didn't hear more about that.
I'm Logan Millsap. I'm from Springville. There's a Hubble Creek Bike Association down there. I'm excited about. I heard that the Spring Creek Trail got put on the list of things that might get some study funding, so I'm excited about that. And also, I had my first city council meeting as a council member this last Tuesday.
Hey, I'm Austin Taylor. I've been involved with BikeWalk Provo since 2015. I'm a board member and I live in Salt Lake City, but I found myself in Provo today, and so I stayed for this meeting. I'm like, oh, there, I'm going to see you guys.
Austin was the previous director, moved to Salt Lake, we kept it, we kept routine, change, and by keeping it. And we have a board meeting on Saturday, this Saturday. Is one of my announcements that I'll just make it early. If you have any comments, questions, etc., that I can be that liaison to the board for the volunteers, I'm happy to do that. So I'll free to address that. Stan.
I'm Stan Morris, I'm lead for the BikeWalk Provo stories. And I'm excited about see how the city's going to deal with this winter. I guess every winter's a little different, and improvements made here and there. And I enjoy walking in the snow and down Center Street. It's winter walk, so.
Yeah, okay, get some sound, some flurries today. Okay.
I'm John Bunderson with Provo City Parks and Recreation as their planning project manager for capital improvements. And I'm really excited to give my presentation because there's a lot of great stuff we've done this year.
Okay, I'll get it queued up for you then. How are we doing on Zoom? Can you guys hear at all? Ish. Let's have you guys introduce yourselves as well. So let's start with Jared.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'll pump the volume here. Go ahead.
So my name is Jared Bowling. I'm the new Active Transportation Planning Manager for UDOT. Hugh and Calvin, sorry I couldn't be there in person. And then what was the question that we were answering? The second part?
You're excited for anything for 2024?
I'm excited for a lot in 2024, getting back into the AT world and a lot of the advancements and improvements that is coming to just the world. So there's a lot of stuff that we're looking at UDOT, and just stay tuned because it's going to be a fun year.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining. Welcome, Jared. All right, Jake, we'll go to you next.
Hi, I'm Jake Hafen. I have this is my first time here, so I don't really know much about what's going on.
Oh, how did you hear about us?
I met someone at the bike park thing in the Provo Farmers Market and just could never make it to meetings. So now I'm on here.
All right, Jacob Brooks is taking credit for you now. Thanks for joining.
Oh.
All right, Rick, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Rick West and been biking here and helping out with BikeWalk Provo for several years, and so excited for this next year. To answer your question, can we hear? No. So those of you in the room, speak up if you can.
I think it will be better when it's the presenters because they'll be close to the computer. So it's just when we're doing introductions that it's a little harder.
Yeah.
Aaron, look at you joining. Aaron's here. Aaron, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Aaron Scablin. I'm the Director of Operations for BikeWalk Provo and joining you from near Death Valley National Park this evening.
With limited service, yet he helped BikeWalk Provo anyway. Incredible as always, the dedication of Aaron Scablin. Okay, and Jen, if you want to unmute, you're welcome to.
Hey, sorry. Yeah, thank you. I've been a long time ago, but yeah, just coming back and seeing what's going on. It's exciting to see BikeWalk Provo grow. So
Are you a Provo resident then?
I am. Yep.
Which neighborhood?
River Bottoms.
Oh, awesome. Okay, welcome.
Thanks.
Okay, I think that's everyone on Zoom. So give me a second here. I'm gonna work to pull up this presentation. Hopefully that can work. And if not, you can email it. Would you be able to email it to me too? I'll try the USB, but we'll try that too. Okay, talk among yourselves for a moment. Make a friend. Introduce yourself to the person next to you. Look at that. Got it. All right, John, I got you queued up here.
What's the best way to advance slides?
I can do it for you by clicking. I'll just say, there we go. Then I can watch the chat too. So,
Okay. I appreciate the opportunity.
talk loud for Zoom.
My role in Parks and Recreation is planning, project management of our capital improvement projects, and specifically to our BikeWalk Provo group here that we've had some terrific improvements that have been happening over the last several years. Directly on the Provo River Trail, there's been improvements on the lower end between Columbia Lane and Geneva Road Trailhead. And I feel like it's helping our community quite a bit. And in indirect ways, besides the recreational purposes that these trails are designed for, there's a lot of consideration about safety improvements and enhancements and general stewardship of preserving the wonderful assets that we have, natural assets like the Provo River in our community. For both those of us who live here and the many visitors that we get. So we have economic development considerations that go into the planning of these projects, as well as the civil and structural engineering considerations for these capital improvements. So we want to go to the first slide. These are three large projects that occurred this year in our community. With the College Connector Trail section between Provo River Trail on the south and up to Carterville Bridge on the north. And then Cottonwood Greenway. Does anybody know where Cottonwood Greenway is? Great, because I made it up. It's the section of the trail between University Parkway and 2230 North. Gave it a name this year. And then on the other side, or underneath the bridge at 2230 North, going north up to 3700 North on University Avenue, that section of the trail is project was called 2230 North Connect. Go ahead and advance the slide. We're going to wear your finger out and go through these
No
pretty
problem.
quick.
Okay, I'll keep it close.
So College Connector Trail is a half mile of resurface. It's supposed to be really simple. Grind off some asphalt on top, get rid of the cracks that were there, and lay down some fresh asphalt. Well, if you see in this picture, right in here, a lot of water. Been there a while. Well, what was happening is the adjacent property owner had left the irrigation running for at least 30, 45 days. It saturated the ground. So when they went in and removed the asphalt, it rutted up the trail. Go to the next slide. Another example of how rutted it was. I mean, these were like 2 foot deep ruts from the equipment that came in to remove that. We had some testing performed, and it required some stabilization underneath the asphalt to be laid down with geotechnical fabric and 8 inches of A1A class road base. And then we were able to come in and lay that fresh asphalt. And in discovering that problem with the sub-base soils, it explained a lot of what you were seeing on the top of the trail, cracking, because there's a lot of movement.
Sorry, where is this again?
This is right up next to the Cafe Rio on University Parkway, where the new,
Okay.
we call it the mix, but they got another name for it. River's Edge, thank you.
So I know the cracking happened there as well. As you go south or east, that is, there's also crack. Is it because of the trees?
Are you saying south of the bridge?
Yeah, south of the bridge. Like once you cross that
The river
right there, southeast. There's I think you guys fixed it. I'm just wondering, was that a tree issue or?
That did not have the same soil conditions that we found north of the Meeker. And it has irrigation next to it. I mean, there's grass and trees. We did not see tree. Let me back up. On the north end of that, closer to the little pedestrian bridge at the bike bag 2230 North, there was some cracking and lifting of the asphalt into the roots. And so prior to laying a new layer of asphalt, we had the contractor come in and dig that out. And then he laid 3 inches of asphalt back in place and then 3 inches on top. So we're really thick in that section between the river and 2234.
It's really nice.
So you can go into advance next slide.
I was on that this morning. My dentist is over there, so it's very.
Yeah. So as part of that section, we created a new connection to the Provo River Trail. So when you were headed south, you used to dive down right on the sharp right-hand turn right underneath the pedestrian bridge above you. And we saw an opportunity to improve line of sight issues and ADA accessibility through here that we're now at some grades less than 5% through this area. So another design feature, you know, and I'll be honest, I saw this opportunity because I was out here multiple times before construction and saw the people from Raintree were just cutting across in this section, across the lawn, connect with College Connector Trail, wore a beaten path, and it's like, that's where we need to put this connection.
Yeah.
So
Follow
we're
the users.
observant,
Yeah.
we're looking at our plans, but we're also looking in the real world to make these adjustments and bring it all together. And go advance.
Listen to 99% visible. I'm just kidding. 99% visible. He did a desire path. Yeah, I just thought it was good because
I don't know that.
that's okay. It's a podcast. Dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't pave every social trail I see.
Yeah.
This one made sense because of the grids and such, and the connection that I'll show in a second on College Connector. So that's College Connector Trail. We're moving on to Cottonwood Greenway. So again, this is showing University Parkway, 2230 north on the north end of this. Here's that nice little connection we were just talking about. And let's go to the next slide. So when we do these projects, there's a lot in the planning, a lot in the engineering. This is showing the north end of this project scope with the crossing underneath the bridge of 2230 north along the river. There's a lot of stakeholders involved, and we're talking about the Provo River. It's not just Provo City, it's not just county, it's not just federal. Right? You've got multiple agencies involved with the environmental factors of the river, the wildlife, fish, canal, water share owners, all of those. I mean, there's so much that plays into this. Our objective is to widen Provo River Trail to 14 feet with a shoulder on either side. In this particular section at 2230 north, we could not get that width because of the narrowness of the bridge and the river flows that needed to happen next to it. Let's go to the next slide. And when we start a project, it's really dirty. So this is the demolition of the existing structure. Go to the next slide. This is with the old structure removed. We had to do quite a bit of engineering to shore up this bridge to keep it in place so it doesn't move. Not every bridge abutment is deep enough to do exactly what we want to do, so we had to drill into the hillside underneath the bridge abutments and stabilize it before we excavated to our depths, because another objective is to have at least 8-foot clearance overhead between the trail surface and the girders of the bridge above, or anything above overhead of our trail system. Go next slide.
What was the depth before, or the height
So
before?
I think it was 5.5 feet wide, and the clearance was 6.5, maybe 6'8".
Mm.
So we had to go down deeper to both build our structure that was improved underneath it, as well as increase the overhead clearance.
Wow.
So this is what we have today. Let's just go through a couple of these. This is the new intersection with going out to College Connector here on the left. And it's a 4-way. We have a 5th connection to this commercial building here, which we worked with these adjacent property owners to understand the connection to the trail system. I didn't build anything they didn't want. They specifically requested only this connection. We worked with them to do some land exchange so that the trail is within Provo City property and not through their property. So there's a lot that goes on to make this all work. And this is the planning for that southern section. Let's go next slide. And this is looking out over it from College Connector Trail above, looking to the north. I really like what we've been able to provide, deliver here. Okay, let's go next. This is the other project that was just adjacent to Cottonwood Greenway, and it goes to the north. And it's a very long section trail, 1.7 miles of surface to be replaced here. Next slide. This was the design of that U-channel coming out, coming across a new bridge. You can see the old bridge alignment here. And what we did is try to get better ingress, egress, and approach angles to the bridge. Not necessarily to improve speed, but to improve decrease collision potential between the different user groups that we have here. Because I know that you've seen in your usage, sometimes there's a group of people that cover the whole trail, full width of the trail coming at you. So we're always trying to adapt to the different user groups that we have on the trail. Next slide. The other section I was really excited about here is on the south end of University Avenue. Here's 2230 north on the left, and this comes up along University Avenue. I really like the separation that we were able to get. The reason why this was an important component for our project is that we needed to drop the trail surface down to accommodate the hillside slope there on BYU's property. Because there was a structure that nobody had any information about. We checked with UDOT, we checked with our internal systems, and there's a retaining wall. If I did anything to it, I would have to redesign that, and we would not be able to make the improvements to the north. So we were able to, in our design, lower the sidewalk height. So the sidewalk used to be right about here, build sidewalk. So we lowered the trail down, cut the grade, and be able to make this work. So this was a great tool for us, this median barrier, for that purpose. It serves an alternate purpose of separation from traffic, which is just phenomenal from my perspective at that section of the trail. Let's go next step. So this is back at the undercrossing at 2230 North, listing RAP tax funds that paid for this, MAG, and it's Calvin, and UORG, governors. They've changed offices, but it was a UORG grant to help fund this improvement. Next slide.
Can I just comment? Like I live right by that intersection. I see accidents at that intersection all the time, and I really appreciate the safety measures there.
So the one coming into the motion picture?
2230 and University.
Okay.
That intersection, where you decrease the sidewalk.
Okay, I think.
You see car collisions all the time or on the train?
Yeah, car collision is what I'm talking about.
So that separation.
Yeah.
I've got a photo of it. We'll write up that in a second. And as part of this improvement here, the grade has to drop, and I wish I could get 5% slope on everything. We have fixed points, right? We've got the depth we need to go underneath the bridge, and I've got a pedestrian bridge up here, and I don't have a lot of run to get there. I've got parking lots next door and a river on the other side just boxed in, but we did what we could to sweep it out around here to get a better approach angle and grade to the bridge. Because before it just came up through here, and there was a right-hand turn. So we worked with BYU Motion Picture Studio for the property needed to do this.
And the bridge is much wider too, right?
Yeah, great point. It's a 10-foot wide bridge. The other one I think is 6.
What is the grade?
The grade, I think at the steepest is 12, and it was 22% before.
That's an improvement.
This is a close-up of the bridge. That we went from a wood deck to a concrete deck, and that is for our maintenance team to be able to use our plow equipment that we use on the trail to get right across this and not have to hand shovel the wood plate decks, which this has now become a new standard in the person.
And it notes improved bus stations. Can you?
Coming up.
Oh, that's another thing. Okay.
I'm sorry, I just copied this slide and
got
changed the pictures.
Okay.
Got a new repair station. This is right here in front of Motion Picture Studios. Again, there's that U channel below it. Some picnic table pads were added in that area too, because it's a great spot to use the trailhead. Take a break if you're on a stretch of the trail already. There's some good eateries in that area too. Commercial development in River's Edge. So this is that median barrier wall, and you can see how our grade, we didn't have to build this up. The sidewalk used to be right about here. So if I was to widen that surface, I would have had to push a lot of dirt out here and steepen the grade coming down that wall. I had no engineering on that wall to be able to do that. So we instead dropped the grade of the trail down, and we're able to get the widths that we could get. The narrowness here at the BYU tunnel, that was a fixed point. I couldn't go any lower because there's a structure underneath it. But after that, we flare out to 12 foot. I think right down here was 8 foot. Contractor only had 7 foot 8 inches. If it go back, widen it to 8 foot. That was a design criteria to get that width right down here. carried to the fence here, and then it flares out to 10 foot and then to 12 foot eventually until we get past to the north of the Riverside Country Club entrance, then it goes to 14. So let's go through next up. But this is the bus station. Look at that. So what we did is I included in the contract to improve the bus stops from just a post. This one had a shelter on it and they're replacing it. I don't know if it's been replaced yet. But the two other points at 3300 North and 3700 North did not have bus shelters or pads. It was just a post in the ground. We worked with UTA. They are providing the shelters, and we provided a pad for them to build on. So those improvements happened at the same time as the trail. So, and we had to work with the Riverside Country Club to relocate their fence back to accommodate. They were a very good stakeholder and partner in this improvement. You know, they let us tear up their frontage, put things back as best as our design had laid out, and as far as I know. This is looking to the north, right about, so this is just past Riverside Country Club with the condos to the north of it. And I got one more photo on here for this section. A gorgeous place to live.
Yeah.
And great access to this trail. I love the hornbeam trees that are here for St. James. So there's where we've been this year. We've been busy. Besides these projects, we have the regional sports park under construction. We had improvements made at Rotary Park, improvements at Riverview Park, and improvements at Rock Canyon Park that took place this past calendar year. So most of them funded in partnerships with our grant funding sources and RAP tax funds.
What does the RAP stand for?
Recreation, arts, and parks.
No.
Let's go next. I don't want to ever leave these out. The lighting improvements, this is on Cottonwood Greenway, but we've got 61 fixtures on the trail now that are solar powered overhead lighting on the trail. And we'll continue to do more as the funds are available and or they're budgeted in the projects, which we have another project this year that currently it's budgeted in, but we'll know definitively when we let the contract down. Let's go next slide. So this is what's coming up. There's more, but these are specifically trail, Provo River Trail related. The one I left off here is Rock Canyon Trailhead is receiving a huge improvement this year with expansion of the parking area, replacement of the restroom, amphitheater areas, and addition of several trails. And kind of like with the 2230 North Connector, we're inviting UTA to put a bus station at the trailhead, and we have an area that we're allocating for that. Yes.
Why is the amphitheater and restroom area?
So the primary reason for the restroom replacement is that the building is not built as a year-round facility, and it is not sized capacity-wise for the use that it's experiencing and will experience in the future. So we are building at this site a year-round restroom facility with the appropriate heating mechanisms and such in there to keep the water from freezing inside the building, and it's sized different. Larger size, they're larger. The amphitheater, we worked with Rock Canyon Preservation Alliance as one of the stakeholders up there, and have designed an amphitheater with a pergola covering over the seating area and an improved backdrop on the east side of it. So
right now, like that one, these people just sit on the grass. Are you actually going to build structure there? Is that the plan?
Which hill? Park.
Yes.
You're talking about the Rock Canyon Trail.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
don't know where the grass is.
It's all.
We have some grass there, but it's not
It's mostly
long.
sagebrush.
Yeah,
So is the amphitheater being renovated?
yes,
Not removed, just renovated.
right. We get a lot of people like to get married there.
Yeah.
That's one of the highest event uses there.
And is it like other parks you rent or use that space through?
It is
Provo?
rentable, yeah. Yes. It has been designed with that capacity, but it is not currently operated at that usage. And the primary reason is we don't have the staff at this time to maintain it through the winter. But the facility was built as a year-round.
And one more thing, Canyon Trail, then, how far up into the canyon are you going?
So our improvements will take it all the way, basically to the gate, the upper gate, at the mouth of the canyon. There is another project, from Public Works that'll be happening at the same time. That will be on the main asphalt trail. And what we're doing, and I've met with my contractors just today, I had a pre-bid meeting with contractors today to line out our expectations. But what we'd like to do is that we'll keep the trails open, but no parking at the trailhead. Park down at Rock Canyon Park in the upper parking lot and use the north side of the trailhead area as a bike path. There's trails existing there. We'll sign it, but that will largely leave the contractor free to make the improvements that need to make there.
What is the time frame expected?
This season.
Oh,
So it's out for bid right now, and I hope to get under contract before the end of February. And the contractor is going to stipulate the closure schedule that it's probably March.
So is this out by Utah Lake over here?
This one, this is over off of River
In the floodplain area, like.
Lake Shore Drive.
Yeah, it's floodplain out there by, like, by the state park, right?
It's adjacent to that. This is serving as, well, let's go next slide. So
just one more thing about property. You know, if there's plans to, do anything with the Bonneville Shoreline Trail signage? Because as I'm coming across from south to north and coming across Rock Canyon Trail, it's pretty confusing. Now,
I'm glad you asked. There has been designed new wayfinding all the way up to the mouth of the canyon, including the 2 points where Bonneville Shoreline comes in from the north and the south to help people navigate through the area, both using Rock Canyon Trail system up in and out, east and west, and then Bonneville Shoreline Trail from the north and south. And in addition to that, the new trails that I talked about are exploratory loops where there's a theme to 3 different loops. One is an animal loop where there'll be some signage along the way about animals that are found in the area, plant types found in the area, that's a plant loop. And then the third is a geology loop where you can explore some of the unique geology that is only found in rock.
Who are your experts for those?
We've been working with the Preservation Alliance
Mhm.
and our consultant. They were PEC, they're now Consor Engineering. They were tasked with producing the wayfinding signage and our interpretive signage. So that we worked with them, Rock Canyon Preservation Alliance, and Provo City staff.
Cool.
All right, so that's not on my slides, but going back to slides, this is the Provo River Delta Gateway Park. I have brought this slide before, and I wanted to just reiterate, we were supposed to be under construction last year. The other parties involved with the Delta expansion there,
Isn't that
west, yes, west of Provo High School. They have diverted the river from the previous natural channel that went along the east side of, or west side of this park. They have turned the water directly west at this point. And Lakeview Parkway Bridge is somewhere right about here, the new bridges. So this heads up to Provo High School to the north. So we've got the existing Provo River Trail underneath Lakeshore Drive. Here's our existing Lakeshore Bridge trailhead. And the trail is going to come down here. Since this concept plan was produced, there's going to be another trail connection that on the north side of the river. I didn't have exact alignments, that's why I'm not providing that.
I've kind of seen something like that over there already at the lake. It splits.
Yeah, I think right now it's serving as a bypass that because there's no bridge here across the river. So people are coming down that section of trail over to the Lakeshore Vehicular Bridge, coming back up to the new Lakeshore or Lakeview Parkway Trail, crossing that to come down to this new trail section that is not paved. It's just a levee at this point, and then continue on to the existing Provo River Trail that's down through here. So this facility, when improved, will deliver a new pedestrian bridge here. Will deliver these trail connections to the west, and then also establish a connection back underneath Lakeshore Drive to the east to a current park that's open. It's called the Rivers Nature Area. And I think it's one of the best places that I've taken my family to experience raw Provo River area. You know, it's very vegetated, and it's the natural surface trails. It's really a nice wildlife area to do some observation, seeing some eagles and some other. So that's up to the east of this park. So the new park, we will be under construction a little later time frame from Rock Canyon Trailhead, so probably start late spring, but I'm on the threshold of letting that bid out. I'm anticipating in February for the contractors bid out. So let's go through.
Question on that one. Isn't this area going to be open kayaking for the Delta restoration?
Yes, all sorts of water sports. The area that goes to the west is not regulated or managed by Provo City. This will be the only asset that Provo City will manage for the recreational purposes.
Will it be kind of an area where we launch kayaks and whatever?
Yes, I'm going to say that this river access that's shown here could be used for that, but there will be another trailhead within the west side. So clear over here, that's not shown on my diagram, that is a county managed facility that'll have more of a boat dock, but only for kayaks. It will not serve power boats. It won't be that.
You have to know when the Delta's gonna be open. The signage is already just said.
Yeah, there's not a lot for them to do out to the west here, except for that trailhead facility and whatever paved trails they need to do. So that's not anything I have control over. There is a website where you can find that. Provo River Delta Restoration Project. The web search will bring up their full schedule and timing. So let's go to the next slide, because I feel like I'm burning your guys' yeah, this is just a slide kind of showing all those new trails. So there's a river, there will be a new trail in the north. This is a new trail, and then we'll connect to existing. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so this is another exciting project, and we are working primarily funded with MAG on this section of the Provo River Trail improvements. And this is located just so we've made improvements down here, and we stopped right here by the fire station. on the north end of Exchange Park. And we will be improving in 2025, maybe sooner, but later than 2025. The section under Columbia Lane, across behind Walgreens, under State Street, come up over here north of the bank and the Macy's parking lot. And we are planning on a new pedestrian bridge to cross the river at that point and produce new trail on the west side of the river up to, I think there's an existing pedestrian bridge here, a wood deck bridge, and we'll connect onto the existing trail from that point north, but we'll be making widening and lighting improvements through that section.
So of particular interest to this group too is the connection to former Bulldog, now Cougar Boulevard, because,
Let's come back to that.
okay,
Let's come back.
will you talk about that though? I'm sure that will
Yeah.
be of interest. Okay.
Let's go next slide. So this drawing shows the existing undercrossing that we have at Columbia Lane. This is looking from the north to the south, and this is south to the north. This is the design improvement, 14-foot wide undercrossing.
So so the idea is to expand it out, because sometimes when I ride my bike on that, it's kind of a blind spot.
So we are removing the curve, the switchback, and straightening that section, as well as widening.
So it's gonna go straight instead of a turn and a turn.
Mostly straight, because we still have to follow the river. Yeah. But it's mostly straight. Also improving the head clearance underneath, and the grades in and out, which are very difficult to accomplish. Again, with what I relayed there at 2230 North, we have fixed objects we're connecting to. We gotta go under a bridge. Yeah. We gotta come back up. We gotta go under a second bridge. Yeah. And it's really tough to hold the wall, building the retaining walls and everything to do that.
So would you, excuse me, the Columbia Lane, it looks like you'll probably be going northeastward to make the trail a little bit wider underneath
Yes.
the bridge?
Yes.
Because I mean, you can't really go anywhere to the right. You have to-
Correct. So the pinch I had under 2230 North is that I couldn't go underneath the bridge any further into the river. At Columbia Lane, we are not going to move the bridge abutment. It stays in its place, but we are building this structure outside of the bridge. We are not under the bridge with this structure.
Does that mean we don't have to rely on stolen the mirrors? I don't know how many times.
There will be
replaced
no
them.
mirrors.
Oh my goodness.
There will be no mirrors.
Oh, yeah, I got it. They've been replaced over the years, even when I was.
I know, and I complain, it's like, well, we've replaced, how many times have you replaced them, you know? The mirrors are just changing every 6 months, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's when we notice, right? It's after it's gone, so we're never sure when they leave. So, but this is the best representation of that improvement that I.
And how, sorry if I'm missing this, but how then do you connect from the road down to the trail in the proposed?
So this is the existing one on the south,
Yeah, so
and that'll be improved and straightened.
And then.
Let's go next slide. I think
Okay,
I have
will it
that
show?
in the design here. So this is the trail improvement. And
Are you on Columbia
this is
right
the
there?
existing right here. That's the existing right there, the undercrossing.
We're not all
And this is the.
literate in engineering
So
plans.
that
like
ramp's
you
still
are.
gonna be there, is there still gonna be a ramp from the digital
The
diagrams?
south side of Columbia Lane, there is a design ramp to come down.
So where the fire-
Same as
that's what
it
I'm
is in
saying.
Exchange Park.
Where I'm saying is the fire station, it's right next to the fire station. What I'm saying is that's still.
That's it.
That's.
But improved. It gets improved. Grades get improved.
Will you be biting into Walgreens at all?
So that's a great question. And I'll answer it in a minute. Okay? Because where this is shown on the north side of Columbia Lane, I am on property line with this section and not going into Walgreens property.
You don't need to do it.
And look, you need to look at this too. This is a cross section looking from the east back to the river. If we dug a hole in the ground, we're able to see everything in front of us. This is the grade that we have to overcome to get back to the original. So this This is, let's see, the existing ground of trail is this line right here on the top. That's the current elevation of the trail. This is the new one. So we are going deeper. We're improving the incline in and back out of the undercrossing on both sides. So
It's not as steep, I think.
it's not as.
So is this gonna improve my walk score for real life?
I-
Rob, man, I'm at an 86, man.
Let's go next.
Good,
slide.
right?
So now this one is State Street undercrossing. I don't have that nice graphic to show you in and out, but this is the existing on the south side. You see the curve? You can see how it's straightened with the new one and widened on the south side. North side, same thing. You can't really see the existing zigzag that's up there, or north side is really kind of straight. But you can see the grade change here.
So
That's the existing grade out, and this is the existing out with the design. Much easier and straight.
Will it be less like Indiana Jones vibe down there? It's really bad.
Are you talking about the doll?
I'm talking about like the spines that are down there.
Is there a
So-
boulder,
Already gone under that bridge?
is there a
so-
boulder rolling at?
The boulders are running at you.
I got two issues with cobwebs, spiderweb. If I light it, there's bugs that show up. And then the spider webs come because there are bugs there, and they're easy to get because they're bumping against the light, and it's easier for them to spin them. So I'm improving the lighting. I don't have anti-spider lighting available.
Hey, just fix the grade on.
I'm married to an
Yeah.
entomologist. Do you need me to bring him in? I can bring him in.
I definitely will consider wavelength that will not bring in spiders,
Oh, yeah.
but still
I
light
guess
it.
we could sweep
Yeah.
it. Maybe
Yeah,
I
there's,
could
there's a problem with, roots underneath the tree.
The very first time.
Yeah. Roots that grow underneath, it brings up that.
All that gets addressed.
Yeah, because somebody, or somebody gets gonna get hurt, or
No,
somebody,
that's all being addressed.
you know.
That there's no section of trail there now that will be it. This is all being. Now, we'll talk about further to the north here in a minute, but we're through University Avenue. Okay. Let's go next slide. This is to the north of that, in the bend in Moon River Drive, where the new pedestrian bridge is at. And we take the 14-foot wide newly improved trail from the east bank to the west bank and carry it in new 14-foot trail to the north and connect to the existing bridge that's to the north, not quite University Parkway, but that's new trail. The improved trail will go from that point all the way to University Parkway, widening the port.
If you're removing the old bridge, that would one.
No. No, we'll redeck it.
I'm trying to like. hear where
I'll
it's
get
at.
to that in a
So
second.
this is across from the apartments?
Yeah, so this is the north entrance to Macy's parking lot.
Or
That's Macy's right there?
That's the north entrance to Macy's parking lot.
Okay.
Okay, it's further down.
Yeah, it's not, I didn't bring that section
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
Because you already know where that's at. I didn't need to make that.
Will there be any connection into the plaza? Like, that's my biggest beef. Like, I have to.
Connection to the plaza.
I have to go.
This is what is in this design, but I'm gonna caution that it will probably get some sort of revision. But there are sidewalks, new crosswalks here to the east side of the north entrance. And then there's a new crosswalk here.
Honestly, that's like a million times better.
And then to get to the crosswalk, there is what we're calling a node where there's some stamped concrete and some improvements right by the bridge where you go from the trail grade and ramp down to street grade.
Oh, nice. And I understand, like, it's a really windy road. It's like, I wouldn't even know where the crossing is. People are hauling trash around that road.
So
Would you ever put like a hot or a signaling?
Yes, that, I try to keep the hospital work going. So, this might be an idea. However, that's so scary, because as of now, you have to make a huge, 180 to go by the vein, and then hoping that nobody will hit you by the flower shop. There's this is, I'm just gonna stay in Provo because.
I'm gonna clarify the distinction here. I am Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
I am the trail system. Vern is the streets, bike lanes. And so he is the specialist, and I'm gonna say owns those improvements in the road right
Who's the
away.
engineer?
That's Gordon, right? Gordon's the engineer.
So I do have a question. So when we had that water last year coming down.
Can we come back to that? I want to stick on this project. And this is the last, we're near the end.
Oh, we are at the end.
We go back to some. Okay. The question about connections to Columbia Lane. I do not have any property here on the north side of Columbia Lane at this time to make a connection to the trail. Secondarily, the trail is much lower than the road grade up here. So to make that connection, it needs to be made somewhere to the north of the road. And I don't know how far that is. It's not engineered or designed. I just don't have the property at this time. And I'm gonna alert you to this property owner. They were approached 4 years ago when this section of the trail was being designed, and there was no response from the property owner. The property owner is not Walgreens. They lease this property. So it is undetermined if there will be a connection on the north side of Columbia Lane. We will be talking to the property owner, hopefully at some point, but they've got to be a responsive person. And then let's go to the next two slides forward. I'm sorry, one back.
And John, just because it may not occur at the original construction of this underpass, that it will be future, once we have a more cooperative property.
My follow-up question to that was the connection getting on from State Street, as you probably know, is horrendous.
Let me just present something real quick. We'll come back to this conversation. On the south side of State Street, it was designed to continue the current access in an improved form down to the trail. You know, looking at the grade changes of the trail and all of that, it has been designed. Unfortunately, the design is on the adjacent property owner's property and not on publicly owned property at this time. So to make this connection, we still need an easement, or we need to acquire that property from that adjacent property owner. We don't have it at this point. So the connection is designed to bring the trail users to and from street grade sidewalks. And that's as far as the design is at this point. On the north side of State Street, it is designed to bring the trail to street grade by the bridge. My scope doesn't include anything else up and down that section of the road. But I do have designs for a lot of great stuff outside of it. So with that, let's come back to your question.
No, you answered my question.
Okay.
Yeah. It sounds to me like you need to, break some news here.
We are
Your hands are essentially tied.
we are very respectful
Yeah.
of our adjacent property owners.
Sure.
And like going back to the 2230 North project, we had 3 property owners who were willing to grant access easements to make the improvements we made along 2230 North. I already mentioned the commercial center south of 2230 North. But all the other property owners said, no, keep it in the right of way. We are not going to grant any other easements. And that's why we have exactly what we have today. We maximized what we had access to, and we made improvements, maybe not exactly the ones we wanted today, but we did what we could. So coming back to here, we will be respectful of that property owner for whatever way they want to communicate with us. But I give you my personal commitment, I will do whatever I can to make the contact and to make the results. Which, I've done some pretty good things already. I'm really proud of. But it's really because the community enables me to do this, right? The funding comes together, the right contractors get selected. We really appreciate the avoidance of these construction areas as we're making the improvements. That is something that you could do for me in your advocacy efforts, is to help the public know that when we are crossing through construction zones, it is a liability to the contractors and it does slow down their work. As harmless as it appears, they have provided alternate routes through these construction areas, but it really helps when the public follows that and doesn't just cross through the wet concrete or where they've got tools laying on the ground or sharp objects. It becomes a huge liability for them. It is really appreciated if you could help us advocate for that. Like Delta Gateway Park, what a hassle that is now to make those big detours around it. But it is honestly, they got some 20-foot deep holes out there. You know, if you're out there in the dark, there's no lighting, there could be some real injuries out there. So we appreciate your advocacy and help for keeping both cyclists and walkers, joggers, hikers safer by avoiding these active construction areas. And we hopefully get it done just a little bit sooner because we really appreciate your help. With that, well, I know we have completely avoided everybody online.
I'll check and see if there's
Yes, we're working with MAG. That is when our funding is currently available. We are approaching the funding entities to maybe accelerate that because there's some conditions working down in the river, right? You've got to have certain permits and you have to work in certain times of year when there's low flows in the river. You got to get back out. So let me tell you a quick story about 2230 North. That undercrossing, they got the walls up just as this last season's massive snow melt started coming down. The water was lapping over the top of that internal wall that's been built there on the U channel undercrossing.
Yes, over there by the old taco bank. By the old taco bank you're talking about? Or that one they did.
Everybody, Olive Garden. Yes,
Garden.
yes, that new.
So my question was gonna answer that. That's what I was gonna ask. So me and my buddy, we were just seeing water just go over the wall. Because the problem is, whoever engineered or designed it should have made it taller. See, they'll make the bridge rail taller, but the wall that's underneath that bridge needs to be taller. That's what I'm saying. Not only that,
I
but it started to crack,
appreciate the comment,
you know.
but it was engineered for specific water flows in the river. This was a historic snowpack this year. And maybe we get another one. I don't know. I do know I've had to work with people at Deer Creek, release those waters to us, the canal users along the way, to make sure that my crews were safe, to complete that. But it never breached other than the splash over the top.
Yeah, see that, but that's
And
my.
it is the same design elevation as the undercrossing under Union Pacific Railroad by Independence Avenue. And both of them performed well. The cracking you mentioned, the contractor was required to go back in and perform waterproofing. There was waterproofing in the design that failed, but they had to come back as a warranty item and inject waterproofing material in every crack. It's held up very well. But a secondary system to that is there is sump pumps located in the bottom portion of the trail to draw that water.
In my opinion, I still think that when they engineered, make it taller just a little bit. I mean, that's just no pump. I mean, yeah, I get the pump thing. You know, but if it was me, I'm not an engineer. If you went taller with it, I mean, that would make more sense to me, because Because that way, if we do have events like that, you know, water's not gonna splash over.
But there's other considerations besides that they make.
Yeah.
So that's why.
That's just my own opinion.
Is there a location we can find the slides online or?
Right now they're on.
Is it okay if I,
If you download the
yeah,
PDF, that's probably the.
I can post them on our Slack channel or send them out. Thanks.
Did anybody online have questions?
Yeah, I'm trying to read them. If anyone else online had a question, let me know. I'm looking through the chat really quick to see if there was anything.
Are there any more in the room?
Rick asked, where is Skipper Bay Trail going to be? Supposedly it'll connect to this Delta Gateway Park also, or two, yeah.
Is that the one that runs north and south along Utah Lake?
Rick, that question was for you. Skipper Bay.
I think it's gone. I think the federal project removed that so they could have more water channels going out to the lake for their Delta project. for the
It
fish.
sounds like that's been removed, Rick, that's no
The
longer
north- the
going.
north section.
Oh, the north section. I think, yes, so many thank yous.
Oh.
Yeah, that's about the Slack, but here's all the thank yous. Wish Riverside would also have allowed the trail to come through their property along the river too.
It was this guy.
That's- I think that's all the questions. Any other questions in the room? Yeah, Jen, thank you.
Well, just a couple comments, we did put in, the application for the spring trail active transportation study. That was a really good one, and the benefit of the funding for that. Whether that happens this year or 2 years, probably don't know, but, eventually, put on more consultants for the next proposal on that. So I'm not sure when it's going to be. It takes a long time to go to get planned, then decide, then funding, and then build. It just takes a long time. And I will tell you that there's one trail that we planned, to see funding for design and build last year. That is how. So we have the idea back in about 96, 97. So you see, basically, we got a video call in most of the highway and the original. For the most part, that's what we're using here. And then, so that's the first cell that I got to find, the first cell that the project I was for. And I love seeing the improvement, as a part of that, still really like it. So, very definitely, around so that was an anomaly. All the pieces fell together really quickly enough. Whereas this one, you know, let's tell you, basically, you could run the way, you know, have a fall. And so all the body weight and everything, that's there. So really, much and people should feel more comfortable walking through that. You might be able to get especially if you know so I really appreciate the work that John has done. We've had a couple of preliminary trips out there, site visits, using the paper, the detail, it's very good to work with. And I have full confidence in John that he's going to get the top of him. He's such a nice guy. all I have. Thank you, John.
All right, that's our February meeting, or January, we'll see you in February. Oh, wait, I wanted to welcome Colin, yes. So, yeah, come up and introduce yourself.
I'll make sure you guys are out of here by then. Just wanted to say I'm next to the office today. I know I introduced myself last month, but it was starting from probably things a bit different. I'm Colin Clark, the National Association with Government. For those of you who remember Jim Price, I've taken his role as he was in for retirement, and I would do my best to press anything, but I would probably have to send him the parent fall off. So you're stuck with agency, so an agency for it. But I'll do my best. And yeah, I won't give a feel of what's going on. This is probably one of the bigger things that we have going on. We have some things in the works, but
We'll give you your own time
Yeah.
to shine.
as we have things come along,
I have a question.
yeah,
You might be able to answer.
there's a chance.
Provo River Trail. So different part of the year. How's that progress?
Good question. I do know a little bit about that. Last I heard, we are, but UDOT is, handling that project in. Oh, I was hoping you'd forget that. I don't know if you have an update, but I know that there are legal troubles that are. Yeah, I don't know if it's details. Last I heard was kind of legal now. There's a legal issue on who owns what property and who owns what that entails, and so everything's kind of off and stuff. Is there content for this today? There is, I think. I forgot it. I believe everything was set to go.
Outside of those sections of the river that fell into a little bit of the name of those.
My understanding is they're putting the entire thing on. Make sure they can do it all. Along the second time. Look at that. Better design and not expected without the road and rebuild the trail and the road so tall. So like just build a trail. Right. Good news is the bridge, the last piece is really hard to do a much better bridge than it is to I've heard so. There are meetings next Monday. That has to be back. Pretty cool. That sounds right. Is that with mag? That's with mag. 8 Monday. Yeah, so anybody who lives on a door, bring yourself out there. Asking what it's like. That's my office. So we're not winding it more. Well, even more than that, so 800 north to 820 north to 2 winding. What is that? There's a plan to be wide. It's like you find general plan, one, plan to be wide. That's what that means. Well, that's one of I'm just concerned with everyone.
But the back road already. It's like. You can handle that now, Steph.
There, it does look like there's.
Oh, thank you. How do we get access? I'll answer that. So if you want access to the Slack channel, email bikewalkprovo@gmail.com with your email well, obviously your email address, but tell me your name and email address and that you'd like access to Slack, and we can get you added to the Slack channel. I'll type it in. I think most of you have Slack access. If any of you want it, let me know.
I might just clarify the Skipper Bay. I think the existing one's been removed. The new trail is that connection on the north side of Delta Gateway Park that goes along the river that heads out to the west. And that would be a safe trail that connects the Delta Gateway Park that Provo City is building to the county trail head further west, where the boat launch, the kayak launch that, and it will take the safe trail all the way out almost to the lake, to connect the trail that heads south back to the state park.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of that we consider the trail. The new asphalt trail that will be along the south side of the current trail.
Okay, maybe that's it. Rick can follow up further with you. Okay, well, thank you all for coming. Our next meeting is February 1st. This is going to come up on fast. So be aware it will.
I didn't get one.
Okay. Thanks, all.